Hello friends, welcome to the second part of my 2,000 kilometers road trip. If you missed the first part where I drive through the Czech Republic and do a quick sightseeing tour in Prague, make sure to check out that video in my playlist. Continuing where we left off in my last video, we just crossed the border into Austria, where we're going to drive the famous High Alpine Road. We still have a few hours drive, and it's slowly getting late. We'll soon try and find a hotel close to the mountains, so that tomorrow morning we can drive directly to the pass. Before we do anything though, we need to pay our toll for using the Austrian highways. Quick stop at a service station for our sticker, and we're ready to continue. Even if we just entered Austria, you can immediately tell the landscape has changed completely from a few kilometers ago. You get to see this beautiful mountains beginning to line up in the horizon, something that I'm afraid we don't really get any of in Germany. It's always a sight when driving through Austria, Switzerland or northern Italy. Just 20 minutes later, and it's quickly starting to get dark. We still have roughly an hour's drive until our next charging stop. A few minutes later, and it's now completely dark outside. A shame really, I would have loved to see some more of the Austrian landscape. Not much landscape to see here, I'm afraid. We now reached our last charging stop for the day, and we still need to find a place to stay for the night. So let me just connect the car to the charger, and we'll then jump on booking.com and search for a place where we can stay. As I'm not familiar with the area, it took me a little while to investigate the best location for me to overnight, not having it be too far away from the Alpine Road, but also not too far away from charging options, as I'd probably want to add a little juice again before going there tomorrow. Having found and booked a hotel a short while later, we were now ready to continue our trip. With it getting late yet again, I was glad that it was only a short drive from here, as I was getting hungry and ready for a good night's sleep. With the night being pitch black, I was really looking forward to waking up next morning and being surprised by the landscape. I know that the area looks amazing from pictures online, so I was very excited to see it for myself. Having arrived at the hotel, let's have a quick look at the consumption, shall we? So far we've driven 878 kilometers with a consumption of 200 watt-hours per kilometer. With close to freezing temperatures, I don't find that too bad. After all, we've primarily been driving with 120 to 140 on the highways, so with that in mind, I don't think it's bad at all. After quickly laying an eye on the route for tomorrow, let's go see where we're staying the night. I suppose this is like a typical small Austrian hotel. We've stayed at these in the past as well. They're usually all family run and offer a great authentic experience. This room is nice and modern, with an open style bathroom and a small separate closed off toilet. Very nice. Time to get some food though, as my stomach is growling. I was happy to see the restaurant was still serving, as I didn't have anything to eat since midday. Quickly ordered a 2-course meal, some delicious fresh bread, a Kaspressknödel soup, whatever that is, and perhaps the most tender roast pork I've ever had. Compliments to the chef. After a good dinner, I did 15 minutes in the Finnish sauna before heading off to bed for a good night's sleep. Well, that's at least what I thought. At 2 o'clock, in the middle of the night, the fire alarm went off ringing. After a couple of minutes, management came in the halls, letting people know it was a false alarm. As I was on the first floor, I wasn't too worried of a fire, as I could always just jump down from the balcony, but still. After a few more hours of sleep, I was excited to be surprised by a beautiful view of the Austrian mountains. Fantastic. Just as beautiful as yesterday evening. After a quick breakfast, I went out to check on the car. It's 1 degree outside, and with the knob, I can see that the car's battery is 7 degrees. I guess I can quickly show you the hotel from the outside. Unfortunately, the thick fog completely hides what is one of the highlights of this place. There's this beautiful little pond in the garden, where you can otherwise sit and enjoy a spectacular view. I had really looked forward to this as I booked it yesterday. Let me just show you a picture from Google of how it would usually look. What a shame. But I did bring my drone for this trip, and I figured I'd want to fly up and see if I can go above the fog and catch a glimpse of how the weather is outside of it. And maybe even get a view of some mountains. Finally. And here we are, almost. I mean, what a view, isn't it? This is exactly what I needed to bring back my energy. Now I was more excited than ever to head towards the mountain pass. Just spectacular. Let's head back down again though, and then get going. We have yet another long day ahead of us. As we're only at 49% state of charge, I do want to top up the battery a bit. Here during the video edit, I also noticed that somehow the outside temperature has dropped to -11 degrees. Car's battery is at 8 degrees though due to preheating. With the drone ready to fly by my side, let's get on the road. Mountain pass, here we come. As we get closer to the pass, the air seemed to clear up, and we're now finally greeted with this beautiful horizon. This is what I came to Austria for. Now just a quick charge before we head on further. Again, I need to say this, the EV charge card I have from Germany works fantastically. So far I've used it about 4 or 5 times and there has never been any issues with it. That's at least one thing they managed to implement very well here in Europe. As I have no experience with the consumption while driving in the cold mountains, I wanted to make sure I'd have enough power to make the round trip, as well as have some extra juice for some frisky driving. By the time I reached 83% state of charge, the car was only charging with 43 kilowatts, so I figured there was no point in staying here any longer. 83% should hopefully be more than enough to make it back again to the next charger. And then here we are. 900 kilometers later, we're finally here. This was the goal of our 2,000 kilometer journey, the High Alpine Road in Austria. Or at least the beginning of it. I hope you're not too upset if we end this episode here, but I simply have so much content of driving and filming the pass that it deserves its own separate episode. It is truly one of the most magnificent roads I've ever driven, and I couldn't help myself constantly pulling over to enjoy the incredible scenery. What's perhaps even more incredible is how empty the roads are. It seems we were just a few enthusiasts out here today. In summer, these roads would usually be packed with cars. So it was like having been gifted a few hours in the most breathtaking scenery to enjoy all by yourself. A truly amazing experience. Anyways, I finally wanted to take a minute to mention that I'm blown away with the positivity my channel has received so far, and I'd like to thank you all for that. It's really awesome to know all the work I put into these videos gets appreciated. So again, thank you so much everyone. You're awesome, and I hope to see you again in the next one.